Welcome back to the PutBack episode. This is the LeBron episode 23. We were talking about it last time. This is not no Jordan episode. This is the LeBron episode.
LeBron episode, yep.
And we're back after a crazy week in the organization. Man, there's a lot to talk about, so we got to get
It was
to it
insane.
real quick.
It was insane.
Before we do anything, stadiumrant.com. You guys know the drill. Go check it out. Merch, articles, shows just like this on the YouTube, on the X, on the Facebook. And we got clips on TikTok rolling out all the time. So go check it all out at stadiumrant.com. All right. We've already done a show on the Luka trade, so we don't need to delve into it too much unless anyone has some new thoughts about it. Same with the De'Aaron Fox trade. Obviously, me and Davinsky weren't there for that, but I think it's been long enough. We all have our opinions about it by now. Full video. I don't know when it's dropping, but I made like a 10-minute video on that. But we might as well get into the Warriors first because they did probably the biggest trade out of anyone. So
Jimmy Butler.
Here we go. The Warriors trade deadline. So they traded Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Anderson, and I think one first-round pick for Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, it was such a crazy trade because, hold on, let me see the full details. At first, it was supposed to be like, I think it was Wiggins, PJ Tucker, protected first-round pick to Miami, Butler to Golden State, Dennis Schroeder to Utah, Kyle Anderson to Toronto. But then Kyle Anderson ended up coming to Miami. PJ Tucker ended up getting traded the next day for Davion Mitchell. Dennis Schroeder, I think he ended up getting traded again. So I forgot what team.
He's in Detroit now.
Yeah. And then Lindy Waters and then Josh Richardson are also in Detroit. So it was just crazy. That whole trade was crazy. Although one thing that I don't like, Wiggins is taking 22, and I'm sorry, but Wiggins, you are not my 22. I don't care what happened. Butler is my 22. Wiggins, you are hashtag not my 22. I'm sorry. Get number 21, get number 20, I don't know, but 22, that's Butler's number from now on. Even with all the mess that he made, leaving Miami, he still got us to 2 finals in 5 years. He got us a conference finals appearance, 1 3-point shot away from the NBA finals in 2022. So no matter what antics he was doing, he still gave us a lot of success in a short amount of time.
That was definitely Pat Riley's last little just kind of punch thrown at Jimmy Butler on the way out was, all right, hey, I'm going to get this new guy your number, and we're just not even going to care. One last little uppercut to the gut of Heat fans, I guess, especially you, Davinsky. It seems like you're very mad about that.
Apparently, Pat Riley cried when he was talking to Butler to try and keep him in Miami. I don't think that's true. I don't
tears of joy, possibly.
Exactly.
I don't believe it.
Pat Riley just traded for Andrew Wiggins strictly because he weighs 22. I love that. That's pity. I fuck with that.
Kind of wish it was KD though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I bet you do wish it was KD.
I do, but I'm not mad at this. Because that just gives us a much younger starting 5.
Interesting. Okay, so you're not mad at it. So, what would you grade as a Heat fan? What do you grade that trade?
I would grade the trade because we did get some extra cap space. For now, I want to see how it goes, but for now, I think I'm gonna give it like a B plus.
For the Heat,
it wasn't over the top, but it wasn't that bad either. So I will give it like around like a B plus.
Okay, I mean you got one protected first round pick. Trading Jimmy Butler.
Warriors too. So.
Not you fine with that?
I'm not mad at it because if the Warriors are trash, then that's our pick.
Yeah, no doubt. But I mean, we're just seeing De'Aaron Fox get traded for. I know one of them was a fake first round pick, but 3 first round picks. Obviously, Luka was only one. But yeah, I mean, I think Jimmy was at a point where his trade value was so down that you weren't going to get.
Yeah, he wasn't going to get another first round pick.
Yeah. So you're happy
Absolutely.
there.
Honestly, I would give this about the same grade that Davinsky does, about a B plus, just because you do get good value in Andrew Wiggins, and Davion Mitchell kind of being that final cherry on top of the deal a day later. I think is what raised this grade up for me. Originally, I had it at a B minus, I think was where I would put it. But adding Davion Mitchell and getting some guard depth in there, I think raised it up for me. Then obviously that protected first round pick makes it a little bit more eye candy, if you want to call it that. And then obviously it would have been even better if they had more forward depth if Kyle Anderson stayed in Miami, but obviously he did not originally stay there. He was moved to the Raptors in that deal, in that 3-team deal. So I'll give it a B plus as well because you get some depth pieces and then that first round pick.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'll probably give it like I'm gonna stuck with a B minus for Miami strictly. Yeah, it's good that you get rid of Jimmy. You know, it's been nothing but a problem for the last couple months. So you start fresh now. Tyler Hero is obviously going to be their main guy moving forward offensively. So you still got a nice core with him and Bam. Yeah, Wiggins is another like pretty big contract, but it's tradable in the offseason if need be. Because I wouldn't imagine he's a piece that this team keeps around for very long. While you can still get first round value for him. Yeah, not bad. On the Warriors side of things, what are we saying?
I mean, they only get Butler out of this, and honestly, I'm gonna give it. I give it like a C. Not even like being a biased Heat fan. I'll give it a C because like adding Butler, I don't think it's really gonna change much to the Warriors. Yeah, it's gonna give you like a winning attitude, but like we know Butler doesn't take the regular season seriously. He takes the playoffs seriously. So like, he's probably gonna average maybe like 18 to 20 a game in the regular season, and then like by playoff time, then he's gonna try to kick it up. But he's got injury history. He's getting older, so he doesn't usually stay that healthy during the regular season. So the Warriors are already struggling as a team, and like with Jimmy's history, it's not gonna be too good. And we already know in that locker room, Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler, the moment they butt heads, it's not going to be pretty. So I give it a C for now because it's still Jimmy Butler and we know what he's capable of, but knowing like his history of injuries and knowing how he doesn't take the season seriously, like it's not really going to make that much of a difference for the Warriors.
I'm actually going to give it a B minus on the Warriors side, just because they were able to get an extension out of the deal. If he was just traded there for a rental, then I would have lowered this grade. But because you trade him, he goes there and then immediately waives his opt out and then moves into a 2-year deal for a absolutely insane amount of money for 2 years. But you get the extension done, so then you automatically are showing your commitment to him at least for the next 2 seasons, and I think that'll help maybe a little bit. And then I would have gone even higher on this grade if they would have gotten like 2 first-round picks, but we know that value is not going to be there for Jimmy. A second-round pick in the NBA draft is kind of a shot in the dark. It's not like the NFL draft where there's enough rounds where all right, second round, I'm still probably getting B plus to A minus value. In the NBA draft, there's 2 rounds and that's it. So it's kind of a shot in the dark. So yeah, I'll still go B minus just because they extend Butler, and if they can get good value out of those second round picks, then maybe this grade raises. But again, there's no reason to consider raising it because of those picks until we see who it is.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Honestly, I'd give them like a B plus. I think the Warriors do win this trade. It's a win-win for me, but at the end of the day, your starting lineup's better than it was yesterday. Jimmy Butler with all his problems, he's still easily a better player than Andrew Wiggins. The only thing Wiggins probably has on him right now is his defensive ability, probably a little bit of a better 3-point shot. Though we haven't seen Jimmy play much. He's 34 years old, so extending him through 2027 is for sure a risk. But with Steph Curry, at 36, 37 as well, Draymond Green's old, going for one last push, and I love that, honestly. So I think that's a good trade, a necessary risk to take at this point, especially when you're the 10, 11 seed right now, trying to push into that top 6. So they get a B+. We'll move on to the next team. They did some smaller trades, but I did want to talk about them. It's the Atlanta Hawks. So they've done 2 trades. They did one with the Clippers, where they traded Bogdan Bogdanovic for Terrence Mann and Bones Highland. And then they traded DeAndre Hunter to Cleveland. So couple of big trades for really good pieces off their bench. Obviously they got Karis LeVert and Georges Niang, 3 seconds, 2 first-round pick swaps, which look pretty heavily protected, so they probably won't turn into much. They also gave up 3 second-round picks trading for Terrence Mann and Bones Highland, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, what do you think about the Atlanta Hawks? What they've done?
I could start on this one. I'll start with the DeAndre Hunter trade to Cleveland. First off, Cleveland, I think I would give them an A- because they're already one of the best teams in the league, and then you go add one of the better 3-and-D players in the league. So yeah, I give it an A- because you're getting a top shelf guy, and yeah, they had to give up a bit of a haul. I mean, Karis LeVert and Niang are some of your depth pieces, but I think DeAndre Hunter kind of fits the bill for what both of those guys do. He's the defense of Karis LeVert at his highest, and then the 3-point shooting of Georges Niang at his highest. The 3 second-round picks, again, second-round picks don't hold as much value in this league, so I think DeAndre Hunter holds that much value if you can continue to win games in the next couple months, just because you're trying to stay atop of the East. The Celtics are kind of right on your tail, and this is a move that says Cleveland is trying to really separate themselves from Boston and continue to prove that they're here to compete and be a very serious threat in the East, at least on this one. So A- for the Cavs. For the Hawks, I'll give it a B- because, again, you get value out of LeVert and Niang, and then you get 3 second-round picks, and then the 2 pick swaps. So, I mean, you get a lot there. If they got less than that for Hunter, then it would be a different grade. But I'll give them a B- just because you do get pretty solid value for one player.
Yeah. Honestly, I agree with everything that you said. Hunter, great 3-and-D guy. He's gonna fit perfectly for Cleveland, and he gives a lot of more wing depth for them. Atlanta, honestly, yeah, they got like 3 second-round picks. Yeah, they got Niang, they got Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert, a really good scorer when he's hot. Niang, a good 3-point shooter. But honestly, I don't see how this is really gonna change the Hawks, because they're still gonna be there. Somehow every season they're either the 9th or the 10th seed between them and the Bulls. It's always like it's the same thing. So I don't think like this is gonna change them drastically. It's probably gonna keep them in that 8th to 10th seed area. So like with that, I would give them a B-, just because like they added 2 good players. But if we're talking about like like changing the team, like making the team better or anything like that, it would go down to maybe like a C, because like it doesn't change that much for Cleveland. I would give it an A, because 3-and-D guy, perfect fit for Cleveland. He's gonna do great things for Cleveland. Cleveland is definitely gonna be up there. So now you have another guy that can be on Jason Tatum. There we go. if we get Cleveland versus the Celtics again, you got another guy that can go on Tatum. You got a guy that can go on Jaylen Brown. So he's pretty versatile as well. So I think this is a huge, huge addition for Cleveland. So definitely an A for them.
Yeah. Um, it's funny. DeAndre Hunter's kind of like exactly what they wanted Isaac Okoro to be, who he just hasn't developed into as a 3-point shooter or a defender, really. He's averaging 20 points per game off the bench, one of the best bench players in the league this year. So he'll be starting now, but that's a massive upgrade. You bring Max Strus off the bench now. I would assume they're going to start DeAndre Hunter. And then you still got Ty Jerome as a facilitator. So you do lose Karis LeVert with the playmaking ability, but you've got Ty Jerome, who's been so good this year. So it's honestly okay. You still got Sam Merrill off the bench as well. They've got a sick 8-9 man rotation heading into the playoffs right now on offense and defense. The Hawks, I don't know what the Hawks are doing. They have no like reason to be bad because they don't have their first round pick. The Spurs do. And obviously, this without a doubt makes their team worse. Both of these trades, trading Bogdanovich and DeAndre Hunter, two really good pieces that average north of 15 points per game for them. Trading them for Terrence Mann, Bones Highland, Karis LeVert, and Georges Niang. It's a weird trade deadline for Atlanta, and it makes me wonder what Trae Young's thinking as far as wanting to leave potentially. I think if Jalen Johnson doesn't get injured, then this doesn't happen, and they're still fighting for that 7-8 seed, and they're making buying trades. But these are definitely like selling trades. So it was a weird one for Atlanta. I'm gonna give them like a C. And yeah, Cleveland definitely get an A. The Clippers as well. They get Bogdanovich, which I really like for him, actually. He's just a better shooter than Terrence Mann. Bones Highland barely plays anyway. So I'm going to give them an A too, because they didn't give up too much either. They got 3 second-round picks with it. So happy with that for them.
No, yeah, that's kind of where I was at with Bogdanovich too. It's very, very similar to the DeAndre Hunter trade. Now, I wouldn't say Bogdanovich maybe holds his value as much value as DeAndre Hunter might, and maybe in some ways in the shooting aspect. But yeah, the Clippers just get a good, solid. I mean, you could start him if you wanted to, especially with Kevin Porter Jr. being off the team now. He was traded away, so you add in, you basically plug Bogdanovich right into that role, and so yeah, again, the Hawks get 6 second-round picks and 4 players out of this and a pick swap, but the 4 players are not guys that are going to move a needle in any way. And then you have 6 second-round picks that you got to try to decide what you're going to do with over the next 3 years. So it's kind of weird because they get good draft capital out of it, but that's really about it. So yeah, I agree that Clippers, I'll give them an A- as well. And then the Hawks, again, I'll give them a C because you're just stacking second round picks, and I don't really know what that's going to do for you right away, at least.
Honestly, second round picks, unless like you get like a Draymond Green, maybe like Isaiah Thomas, something like that. Most of the time, second round picks don't even last in the league. Most of the time, they're signing like 2-way deals and then they're off out of the league by mid-season. So if they're trying to invest in like second round picks, hopefully they get like a needle in a haystack. Then I guess, but honestly, like you shouldn't put your eggs in the basket when it comes to second round picks because sometimes even first round picks don't develop the way that you think they're going to develop. Sometimes second round picks do develop, but second round picks aren't usually the way. I would rather have like one, maybe 2 first round picks over 3 second round picks just because at least the first round pick does have higher potential that you can see like them escalating more as a player other than like a second round pick that's most likely going to be out of the league in the next season or two. So I don't think that it's a good idea for the Hawks to do all of that, especially giving up a good shooter like Bogdanovich, giving up all of these pieces. So I do like what the Clippers did. They just and what they're doing, just staying in no man's land basically.
I would say one of the only thing that maybe Atlanta would be doing by stacking these second round picks is to maybe kind of prep for draft night. Because if they float around 500 or so, and then they pick, mid first round, maybe into later bit of first round, they could have some second round picks that they can stack up, and then maybe try to trade back up further into the draft and say, hey, we'll give you a couple second round picks, and just maybe try to negotiate. That would be the only thing I could see them trying to do with those second round picks, at least for right now.
Well, I mean, they don't even have the second round picks anymore because they got them for DeAndre Hunter and then traded them to the Clippers for Terrence Mann and Bones Highland. And they don't even have their first round pick this year or next year. So that's what I mean. They don't have draft capital. It definitely looks like it from the trade, but it's a lot of stuff that probably won't convey, especially that pick swap. So that's what I mean, man. Atlanta, I don't know what y'all are doing.
They're stuck in no man's land. Probably preparing to trade for Trae Young this summer or something.
Might as well. Yeah, at this point. Okay, next one I was going to talk about is the Kyle Kuzma trade. Got traded, obviously. Chris Middleton's heading to Washington. Kyle Kuzma to Milwaukee. Milwaukee also get Jericho Sims from New York and a couple of seconds that are protected. And then, Wizards get Chris Middleton. They pick up AJ Johnson from Milwaukee. They get a first-round pick swap for 2028. And then the Knicks get DeLon Wright. And the Spurs get Patrick Baldwin Jr. from the Wizards. So start with Milwaukee, I guess.
You go first this time, Davinsky.
Honestly, I think this is a good trade for Milwaukee, especially with their age, them being one of the oldest, if not the oldest team for like the past couple of years. And we know Middleton, even though key piece for years since like 2019, but lately he's been injured, constantly injured, knee injuries, ankle injuries, all of these like lower body injuries. So he hasn't been the same player. He hasn't been that all-star caliber player that we once knew in Chris Middleton. So being able to trade for him for essentially somebody pretty similar play style than Kyle Kuzma, who's younger, although while in Washington, he wasn't inefficient, but when you're in Washington, you basically have the green light to do whatever you want. So yeah, but I do see them having like similar play styles, liking to take the mid-range shot, 3-point shot, just being like a secondary third option when it comes to scoring the ball. So I do like this trade from Milwaukee, but I don't think it's really going to do much. I don't think it's going to really keep Giannis happy because the Eastern Conference is just so stacked. You got the Knicks, you got the Cavs, the Celtics. So I don't think it's going to do much for the Bucks, but I do like this trade for them, so I'll give them like a B for this. For the Wizards, honestly, I can't even grade them because like it's just the same thing every year. Like they're not really gonna do much, and everybody says that Washington is where your career goes to die. So like Middleton and the Wizards, I don't even see him lasting long over there. Maybe like when his contract is over, they're not even gonna re-sign him. So I don't even know what Washington is doing, although they are getting first round picks, so they're trying to gain draft capital. But when it comes to trying to win, no, they're not really doing anything. They're just, again, no man's land. They're in basketball hell. They've been in basketball hell for years. So I don't even know how to feel about like Middleton going to the Wizards just because of like how they play, like how the team is like every single season.
Yeah, for sure. For Milwaukee, I'm kind of in the same boat, about just a straight up B range, until Kuzma and Jericho Sims maybe have a impact for this team. What that impact is, we don't know. Right. But it's just going to have to be kind of a prove it move here. The second round picks obviously give you a few bit more draft capital. But yeah, Davinsky, I think you summed that up perfectly. Kyle Kuzma is basically a younger version of Chris Middleton in many ways. So if Kuzma can provide maybe that younger version of Middleton that we've seen in years past, even in the finals run for Milwaukee a few years ago, then I think the value of this trade will go up for Milwaukee. But until then, I'd just stick it at a B because you get good value. It just has to be a proven value. And then I'll go into the Wizards too, like Davinsky did. I'll be modest. I'll do like a straight up C just because you get a veteran in Middleton. But I think Davinsky, again, is spot on. I think he might be gone after the end of the season. So is it really? I think it's just a rental deal, a rental trade for Middleton throughout the rest of the year. And then they better hope that Milwaukee sucks by 2028 or that pick swap. That could be the end of the first round, and that pick might have a whole nother look to it than maybe like a lottery pick. So I'll go C for the Wizards.
Yeah, obviously Wizards do this trade for draft capital, but they get a D because they should have done this trade last year when Kyle Kuzma first got on the team and was in trade talks, because it was teams offering multiple first-round picks unprotected for Kyle Kuzma, and they didn't take it. And now you see they have to take one swap, which, is obviously a downgrade. And they do get AJ Johnson. Chris Middleton will be off the team by next year. He's not. He's gone in the offseason, without a doubt. They'll trade him for 2 seconds if they have to. But they get rid of Kyle Kuzma, free up minutes for more of the young guys. They're rookies, obviously Alex Sark, Keyshawn George, and they pick up AJ Johnson, 20-year-old out of Milwaukee. I think he was like the 16th, or like the 23rd pick actually. Regardless, he's barely played in Milwaukee, so he'll get some more minutes. So that's cool to see. They traded Jared Butler, so some minutes on the bench free up for him. Milwaukee. I like the trade because it does boost your floor. It raises your floor as a team, getting more spacing out there. Obviously, they're looking to get Kyle Kuzma from 2020 on their Lakers championship team. We'll wait and see what type of Kyle Kuzma is going to be there. But we've seen when he plays with good players around him, LeBron and AD, he's a good complementary piece. So hopefully he can recreate that with Giannis and Dame. But Milwaukee get a B because they don't give up much draft capital or anything, and they get the better player. So I'll take that. The next is getting DeLon Wright to Loki. Not bad either. I like DeLon Wright as a defensive guard. He'll go into play spot minutes, obviously, but if they need it in the playoffs, he'll be there. So I'm a fan of that for them too. The Wizards also traded Jonas Valanciunas to the Sacramento Kings, which I love. Finally get a backup big. We got the Lithuanian front court of everyone's nightmares, I assume. And we gave up nothing, basically. We gave up City Sissoko. We got in the Levine Fox trade, and the 2 seconds we got on that trade too. So I'm cool with that for sure. Just another piece for our rotation. And the Wizards get another young piece, I guess, that's barely played a couple seconds. So win-win on both sides for me with that.
No, yeah, absolutely. I thought that was a big-time trade. There were multiple teams that I'm sure were on the phone asking what the value would be for Valanciunas. And I think the Kings did a good thing. I mean, you trade away De'Aaron Fox, and you got to try to back build somehow. And what better way than to get some big man depth in Valanciunas? So, yeah, I think this is a good move for them. And I think you're spot on. You give up basically a bag of chips for one of the better big men in the league. I mean, he's playing backup in Washington anyway to a rookie. So why not have him come play backup for an all-star center, and he's going to be a solid guy on that second unit on the floor. So you get a good big man value here. I think I give the Kings an A straight up on this because they had to make a bigger move to back build, and I think they did that. And then the Wizards, I'll give them an F because again, you're not getting anything out of it. So I mean, they're throwing pieces away just so that they can kind of ditch salary at this point is what it definitely looks like. So I'll give them an F if you're going to continue to just build up second round picks.
Yeah, once again, I legit can't grade the Wizards because it's the same thing over and over again, and they didn't really have to give much. Kings didn't have to give much to get Valanciunas. Valanciunas is a great player, great backup center. He's a great center even as a starter. He can grab boards. He can stretch the floor from time to time. He's a good inside presence when you need a bucket inside the paint. So him and Sabonis definitely gonna do great things, especially at the fact that they play on the Lithuanian team. So they have chemistry. They know one another. They know how each other plays. So trying to please now your current star in Sabonis, that's the way, because you gotta please your star. You got rid of the De'Aaron Fox. So now time to I know Jack, I know it sucks, but you still got Sabonis. You still got Sabonis, and now they gave Sabonis a best friend. So that's gonna keep Sabonis happy in Sacramento. Definitely will. Seems like he's gonna want to resign if Valanciunas is gonna be there. Valanciunas is a great player. He's gonna be doing great things. So I think I can give the Kings an A as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like that trade for sure. Been watching the Kings last two games. They just lost to the Magic the other night and then Portland last night. So it's not looking great so far in the Zach LaVine era, but it's all right. We got to build some chemistry back up again. Portland, by the way, Portland are 10-1 in their last 11 games. Which,
what the heck?
Yeah, they're cooking right now. They're almost at 500. So they're trying to be one of those playing teams too, I guess. But speaking of Valanciunas, obviously there was a team that was in desperate need for a center after trading their All-NBA center away for Luka Doncic. Valanciunas is one of those names, Jakob Poeltl, but they end up with Mark Williams, who I did not think would be on the market. He's 23 years old. He's been elite in Charlotte when he's healthy. But they traded him, and they got a good package back. I'm not mad at it for Charlotte either. They get Dalton Connect, get Cam Reddish, a 2031 unprotected Lakers pick, which again, they have Luka, so it probably won't be great. But an unprotected first-round pick is an unprotected first-round pick, and they also get a 2030 swap with LA. So I like it for both teams, but yeah, what do y'all think?
I think both teams get great value here. I really do. We knew the Lakers were going to be in the market right away once we saw that AD was in that deal, because when they put out that original graphic of their starting five, and you have Jackson Hayes at the 5. I think everybody and their brother went, Jackson Hayes ain't the starting 5 in a couple of days, folks. So going out and getting a young 7'2" center that can help defensively big time and can score at a pretty high clip, I think they take it all day long. You obviously have to give away Dalton Connect in the trade. I know LA was very, very high on him. They were gifted him in the draft. He probably should have gone higher, and they're gifted him. But obviously, if the Hornets are going to give away one of their best young guys, you probably got to give away your best guy. So I would give both teams an A here just because they add value in areas that they maybe need. And then obviously that first round pick is kind of up in the air, but for the most part, it's young guy for young guy. So it's like in baseball where you trade prospect for prospect, essentially. So there's value there. You just got to have them develop into that next all-star level player. And I'd say Mark Williams was well on his way to being that. And now the Lakers get him.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Although I'm gonna put the Lakers down at an A minus, and the only reason why I put them down one notch is because Mark Williams' health. That's the only thing. Because he's had injury history, he hasn't really played like a full season yet, and he's in his third season. Last season he played like 19 games. The season before that he played about like 43. So he hasn't really been healthy for most of the seasons yet. So only time will tell. We'll see what happens. But he is a great piece for the Lakers, a great addition, lob threat for both LeBron and for Luka. And I didn't even know this was true, but he has a higher reach. He has a higher standing reach than Wemby. He has the highest standing reach in the league, I believe. He has like a 9'9" standing reach, and Wemby's like 9'7".
No.
So yeah, he's gonna be a lob threat for sure.
Yeah. I love it for LA, not because of who they got, just because of the direction that means they're going in. It's saying we're pushing for a championship this year. We're not going to waste another year of LeBron. Might be we probably don't have many left. So they get Luka. It's like this team is constructed weird, but now they get a center, and it looks really good because you keep Rui Hachimura, you keep Austin Reeves, obviously, and yes, the bench needs help, but that's always been the case for LA. So I'm not mad at it, to be honest. And Gabe Vincent has been playing like an actual NBA player the last month or so.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, like 12 points in the first half yesterday.
No, the thing is, what's crazy? Like before he was going off, Max Strus was like the only guy, like that the only former Heat player when he leaves Miami, and then he just starts balling. Earlier this season, Gabe Vincent was not there, scoring like 2 points or something like that. And out of nowhere, he just started hooping, and I love to see that. That's more bench points for them.
Yeah, it was trash for most of the season, but if he can play like this, then that's great for JJ Redick. And that,
Definitely.
yeah, Rob Pelinka had a stellar trade deadline. Some of the best work I've seen from him.
They said Nico Harris hired security.
He had to shit outside his house.
He was getting death threats, man. I feel bad, but like, damn.
Ain't gonna lie, man.
Brain dead, and like it's not even just because of AD. It's not because of AD. You gave up Luka, man, and yeah, AD is an All NBA player, but gave up a generational talent, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to see a Mavericks Lakers first round. That would make my day.
I've seen so many tweets where it's like and I know I'm getting a little off topic here, but where it said if Luka gets on with the same nutrition guy that LeBron has in the same workout regimen, then
it'd be scary.
It's Luka's going to be the next LeBron, is what they're saying. It's like,
shit, he almost there already.
If Luka gets on the diet and the workout and everything, if he spends like $1 million on his body just like LeBron, then it's gonna be scary.
If I'm 6'9", 270, and I'm playing like that, I don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks about
exactly.
Facts.
Why?
I'm gonna eat what I want.
If I'm throwing up a triple dub every night and I go eat a pizza afterwards,
I don't care.
Yeah. I don't care.
I'm a quote low on this. You could be snorting the powder and injecting whatever you want.
Yeah, he does say that.
If you are getting triple doubles, if you're scoring 60, if you're averaging 30, and you're just going crazy like that, if you're an MVP candidate every single year, then I don't care what you do. Just as long as we win, as long as we're not doing nothing illegal, as long as you don't get caught, and we're winning, I don't care. You're not leaving. You're not getting traded.
It's valid. But yeah, Charlotte side of the trade. I think that's a great haul for Mark Williams. You get a rookie. I know he's 23. Yeah, Mark Williams is actually younger than Dalton Connect. That's crazy.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That's because Mark dipped his toes into college ball and then dipped out. Dalton Connect stuck around at Tennessee a little bit longer than Mark Williams did at Duke. So that helped a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, Dalton Connect, You get that unprotected first. That's pretty good value. You get Cam Reddish too. You can take a flyer on him. But I like those connect on the Hornets. Starting with LaMelo, it could be nice. No defense in that backcourt, but it's a later problem.
Brandon Miller at the 3. That'll
Right.
be nice.
They're gonna have to wait a year to get kind of the starting 5 that they are picturing, but
yeah, that injury history is crazy.
And they traded Nick Richards and Mark Williams, so I guess Diabate is their center for right now, but we'll see what happens with that.
They might be going and getting a big man in the draft here in a few months.
Well, they could have took one this year, but they took Tejan Salon instead of Donovan Clingan. Hornets, man. The ghost of Michael Jordan still looming in that locker room.
Definitely.
Next trade is, well, it's an all-star, so it's a pretty big trade, even though it's been real low-key. Brandon Ingram's on the Raptors now. Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, and 1 first-round pick from Indiana, and this coming year's second-round pick from New Orleans. From Toronto for Brandon Ingram. So what do we think about that song?
I kind of wish Ingram came to Miami though. Damn. But Ingram on the Raptors, honestly, he's just gonna get the green light again. Basically, like what he did his first season in New Orleans, basically is what's gonna happen on the Raptors. The Raptors aren't really going anywhere. They're definitely just gonna try and just lose for the rest of the season for the draft, honestly, because they're not going anywhere. They're not really gonna make much noise in the regular season. So Brandon Ingram going there, he's just gonna be putting up some nice points. It's basically just gonna be stat padding probably with Scotty Barnes, but that's a nice duo though. As long as they build it up, Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram could be a nice duo. Bruce Brown going to the Pelicans, it's not bad either, because that's a good 3-point shooter right there. Some decent defense as well, but it's the Pelicans. Not gonna do much either. Playing, maybe just slightly out the playing at best, but they're not gonna do much. I don't know. Just get rid of Zion, to be honest, because they just need to move on. They need to move on from Zion because this is crazy.
I mean, Zion straight up saying they don't want to play me in back-to-backs.
That's BS. Man.
You sure? I mean, in some ways I believe it, but in some ways I'm like, I think you decide which back-to-backs you might not want to play in there, but I'm sitting in a living room talking about sports. I'm not the one playing it, so it doesn't matter what I think Zion wants to do. Anyway, in this trade, I think Toronto gets really, really good value. I give them an A- for this because you get Brandon Ingram, who, when healthy, is all-star level elite scorer. And the graphic of the starting 5 in Toronto with Ingram in it is filthy. Emmanuel quickly at the 1, RJ Barrett at the 2, Ingram at the 3, Barnes at the 4, and then Jakob Poeltl at the 5. That's a pretty good squad. I mean, that's a team that, could make some noise, that they could get into the play-in and go from there. But obviously it's kind of a project that's building, and they have to see if it works. But yeah, I'll give the Raptors an A- on that. And I think the Pelicans, I give them a B+, just because, you want to see what those picks can kind of turn into next year, or this draft coming up. And then obviously Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk, I think, add good guard and big man depth once you can get everybody healthy in New Orleans. I definitely think they add some value. You just kind of have to see where they're going to fit into your lineup once everybody's healthy.
Yeah, it's sad for the Pelicans. We never got to see the DeJounte Murray, Brandon Ingram, Zion lineup, which I had so much confidence in heading into the season. Reminder, I had them as my 2 seed coming into the season. And obviously they're like the worst team in the West right now. But I think I was still standing on the fact if we had DeJounte, CJ, Brandon Ingram, Zion, Eve Missy healthy for a whole season,
You have
Otto
coming off the bench too. Oh my god, that would have been a great lineup.
You can't tell me that's not a great team.
Bro, that
in the West it'll be tough,
that's
but
top
that's a
five. That's top 5 at worst.
That's what I was saying. But yeah, obviously that didn't work out. I don't like the trade though for the Pelicans. I'm gonna be honest. You don't have to pay Brandon Ingram anymore. That's the one good thing you get out of it. We haven't got an extension yet from Toronto, so it's going to be interesting because he is a free agent. I think in 2026.
Yeah, I think next year free agent.
So we're going to have to see what the extension is because I would have to assume they're going to extend them. But yeah, that team looks great on paper in Toronto. They traded Davion Mitchell, so Grady Dick will be on the bench now. They got Jamal Sheed, who I guess they like better than Davion. They traded him to Miami, of course. And then they signed, what's his name? The guy Battle. They just signed him to a 3-year deal as well. So they got young pieces on their bench now. But starting 5 does look elite. It looks like it's screaming 9 seed, personally, to me. Just a bunch of really good players that aren't all stars. So yeah. I like it for Toronto. For the Pelicans, I really don't. But it kind of had to be done at this stage, which is unfortunate. There's one more. The Quentin Grimes trade. So the Mavericks obviously traded Luka and then said, well, I don't want any good defensive guards. I just want Anthony Davis to play defense. So we'll trade Quentin Grimes in 2 seconds for Caleb Martin out of Philadelphia. Yeah, I don't know what Nico Harrison's doing. It's not like a bad trade, like value-wise. So Caleb Martin's still a real good player. And he'll be a nice, but like it's just so weird. Like you're giving up 2 seconds for just a bigger version of Quentin Grimes, basically.
Yeah. Me personally, I like Quentin Grimes more than I like Caleb Martin.
Yeah.
That's just me. I mean, I'm a KU guy, so I mean, I got to watch Quentin Grimes in college, so I know his game. So I know Caleb Martin's game too. I mean, watching him in Nevada and then coming into the league and what he's done, I like Quentin Grimes better. And then adding in the 2nd round pick with Quentin Grimes just loads that up for the Sixers to get, I think, a little bit more value out of this. But I don't know. I mean, unless Caleb Martin goes into Dallas and starts dropping 15 to 20 a night and brings that real value, I think so far Sixers I give like a B+, Mavs I give maybe a B- until Caleb Martin shows that he holds a little bit more value on that current Mavs roster with all the guard depth that they currently have.
Yeah, 2 second-round picks. That's not bad, especially for the type of player that Caleb Martin is. We know how he was in Miami in the Boston series. Really great player. I think like now with him being in Dallas, he's not gonna be bad. I could see it between 15 to 20 points per game. I could see him, having the occasional like just hot night, like being really good. But again, this doesn't really change. This wouldn't really change Dallas that much. But I do see like a playoff appearance for them, where Caleb Martin probably goes for like a 25 piece in one of the games. Quentin Grimes, not bad. Good guard, good defensive guard for the Sixers. The Sixers just aren't. I don't even have to talk about this. If Draven was here, oh my god! But it's not gonna do much for the Sixers. I know if Draven is watching this, he's probably cheering what I'm saying right now. But it's not gonna do much for the Sixers, especially with how bad they started this season, and now they're trying to like come back, which they will get into playing. I could see, but it's not going to do much. They're probably going to be out of the playing. So now it's really just like a next season. Let's see what happens next season type of thing for the Sixers for Dallas. It's let's see what happens the rest of the season, going into next season to see like if this trade actually was really good. Sixers are a hot mess. Wasn't even driving, but if he would have said something way, way worse.
Surprised JC's not in here commenting about it.
Yeah, I think he must be sick of it by now. The poor man, he's suffered for a long time. You got a lot of faith in Cody Martin. You said Caleb Martin. Sorry, 15 to 20 points. If Caleb Martin averages 15 to 20 points per game off the Mavericks bench, Mavs won the trade. Mavs won the trade deadline. I don't care.
I can see it, man.
If he averages over 15 points per game,
if he was able to go crazy against Boston in the playoffs, man, it's possible. It's possible.
So he had 3 good games, and he averaged like 15 points in those 3 games.
But it was Boston, bro. It was like it wasn't like this was the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference that season. So if he's able to do that in the playoffs, then yeah, I could see 15. I could see a 15 game season from him coming off the bench.
You got a lot of faith in the dude averaging 8 points per game this season, but
that's the Sixers, bro. He's not even like a focal point in the offense.
I think he'll play less minutes on the Mavericks. So yeah, this is what I was going to say too. Max Christie is probably the reason for this trade for Dallas. I guess they just like him better than Quentin Grimes at that point. So they free up room for Max Christie by trading Quentin Grimes. Because Caleb Martin comes in, he's playing the 4, right? They've already got PJ Washington starting. He's not going to start. He's going to come off the bench, but they've already got Max Prosper.
Or if he's playing the 4, it's not going to be easy for him to get minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. He's not going to.
If him playing like the 3, to be honest, because if he's at the 4, he's going to be competing with AD because we know AD's not going to want to play center. He's going to be competing with like Gafford, Lively, like just all those 3.
But he's not getting minutes over Clay or Najee Marshall either.
That's true.
So that's not. So I mean, it's a weird trade for the team that needs guards, but you got Max Christie, so I get that. But I just don't understand why you trade for Caleb Martin when he's going to play maybe 10 minutes a game at most. For the Sixers, I actually like it. Have a defensive guard that you can start next to Maxey. He's only 24, I think, so I like that pairing defensively. You get an offensive and a defensive guy. And Quentin Grimes has been hitting threes as well this season. So I actually like that pickup for them. Not mad at it at all. Joel Embiid came back the other night, dropped a 29-point triple-double first game in a month, by the way.
Yeah, and then he sat out against the Heat, and we almost lost to the Sixers. I watched that game. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. We have the height advantage. We killed them on the glass, but we turned the ball over so much it was pissing me off.
I feel that.
I think, I was watching and I was like, yeah, they need to trade Embiid. It's Maxey's team. I've been saying it's Maxey's team since the playoffs because Embiid, he's unreliable. Yeah, he can give you triple doubles from time to time. He can get you like 30, 40 points, but the injury history and just like sometimes you wonder if he's that dedicated to play basketball really, because you heard that back-to-back comment that he made earlier in the season, before the season started actually. So I don't know. And then getting called out by your young star. You're supposed to be the leader of the team. You're supposed to be the best player, and you're getting called out by the young star, by your commitment. So I think it's time for the Sixers to move on from Embiid, and they need to start building around Maxey, honestly.
Yeah, I see that. But yeah, crazy trade deadline. So many trades. One of the best we've had in years, without a doubt. So just before we finish off things, who won the trade? Who had the best trade deadline out of every team?
It's got to be LA, right? I mean,
come on.
I know that's super vanilla. It's super vanilla to pick them, but yeah, I mean, you get a generational guy. I mean, you basically you have LeBron, and now you have that generational piece. Just he's there, already, and he's going to gel with LeBron, and then LeBron will retire off and run off into the sunset, and you're going to have Luka already there. And then you get Mark Williams to finish out your starting five.
Yeah.
Got to be LA.
I'm going to quote a tweet that was back in 2023, but I'm seeing it right now. Lakers get the championship. LeBron's final ring, Luka's first ring. LeBron takes the crown off and gives it to Luka. And then LeBron finally retires, possibly holding a finals MVP. But he's probably just going to hand the finals MVP to Luka, give him the crown, and then call it a career. 5-time champion. Still the GOAT.
You'll cry yourself to sleep happy that night, won't you?
I will.
It's not a bad take. I mean, the Celtics don't do anything except release Jaden Springer, basically. And I'll be honest, you say no one made a move.
They signed Torrey Craig, right? Yeah.
The Celtics signed Torrey Craig?
Was it the Celtics? Or?
Yeah, the Celtics signed Torrey Craig. I think that was today, like earlier today.
Yeah.
They signed Torrey Craig to a 1-year deal.
That boy is not going to play minutes, but it's a good signing, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I think the Cavs upgraded their team again, so I don't know about the Celtics having their fruits out east.
Yeah, I would. I disagree with you there, Will. That I think the Cavaliers are very, very much a threat to a Celtics path to the finals.
Exactly.
Even before DeAndre Hunter.
I've been saying this.
Yeah.
Hey, a healthy Cavs team could whoop the Celtics. I'm telling bro. Last season, last playoffs, the Cavs, if they were healthy, they could beat the Celtics in the playoffs last season. If they were fully healthy, definitely.
I don't think last year.
A non-healthy Cavs team took them to 5
games. Dude, that Celtics team last year, they were whooping everybody's ass. They won 60 plus games, man.
I mean, they were man.
Even before DeAndre Hunter, I think the Cavs were a legitimate threat to Boston in many ways, and then they go add DeAndre Hunter into the mix onto their starting five. I would assume so. Yeah, well, I disagree. I think the Celtics are threatened now by the Cavs, very much so.
I mean, I just watched the Mavericks whoop the Celtics. It was only like a 9-point game by the end of the game, but they were up by 20 most of that game. Clay dropped 25. Kyrie didn't even play that good. There was no Anthony Davis. Obviously, there's no Luka. A depleted Mavericks team beating a fully healthy Celtics team. No, yikes.
That's like
Celtics been like up and down for a long time though.
The Butler trade might have to go up a grade. Jimmy Butler told Pat Riley in 2019 that Andrew Wiggins was the most talented player he's ever played with.
Oh my god.
Okay.
But hey, Butler said it, not me.
That man played with Derek Rose. Just putting that out there.
I have to.
Yeah. Anything else y'all want to speak on?
The only thing the Wizards did good, I guess, was getting Marcus Smart, Alex Len, and a first-round pick for next year. That was kind of one of those last-minute trades that floated in on the deadline, but there's not much else to talk about there. I mean, the rest, Marvin Bagley went to the Grizzlies, Johnny Davis as well. The Kings get Jake LaRavia, so I mean, you do get depth piece out of that, but other than that, I mean, it's kind of a lower level, like role player type trade. I mean, this isn't Marcus. If this was Celtics Marcus Smart, then maybe this trade holds a little bit different of a punch to it. But this is Marcus Smart, who's barely played in Memphis anyway. So it doesn't hold as much kind of just, like wow factor to it.
I'm going to want somebody to clip this real quick. I'm calling it right now. Devin Booker is going to be traded in like the next 3 or 4 years. Booker said that he wants to spend the rest of his career in Phoenix. Every single time a player says that nowadays, they get traded. 3 to 4 years, Devin Booker's gone. I'm calling
I
it
mean,
right
3
now.
to 4
Somebody
years is a
clip it.
long time.
Somebody clip 3 to 4 years. He's gonna be traded.
Davinsky's playing the long game here. He's predicting stuff
He's
almost
getting traded.
half a decade out.
Hey, if weight was an issue for a generational talent to leave, then Devin Booker is gone very soon. And he was on the cover of 2K as well, so we already know about that curse. Oh my God, Luka was on the cover of 2K21 and he's gone. Wow, I just realized that.
Wow, Davinsky's going through it, man. He's
2K curse is real.
Davinsky's tripping out over these.
Yo, yo, that's wild. Everybody that made the cover.
Davinsky's not sleeping tonight.
Next, Booker's next. Hell, even Lillard got traded. Like, no, Lillard was 21, and then Luka was 2K22. Man, Devin Booker's next. Zion is next.
Hey, man.
This is real.
About it, right?
That's it. That's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back next Friday. Yeah, we'll be back next Friday. Check us out on X, on Twitter, Facebook, all that. And stadiumrand.com. Get your merch. Check out the articles on every sport in the world. We'll be back.